A match is finished, which leads us to Division B. Division B will be the one that is harder to watch, only from a perspective of, they are very relegation heavy, and it's likely that our relegation candidates from the bracket will come from here, as well as the people that automatically get relegated, right? Like, there's just a really tough spot to be in. So for Briarthorn and Zalae, this could be their march towards their exit of Grandmasters, but we shall see. The bans are in. Briarthorn's Mage is banned, leaving him with his Bomb Galakron Warrior, his Zoo Warlock, and his Spell Druid.
Yeah, some interesting inclusions in Briarthorn's lineup, as is pretty standard with Briarthorn over the time that we've known him, the short time that we've known him. Specifically the Bomb Warrior, you can see Clockwork Goblin thrown in the deck. It's very removal heavy. It seems to be targeted directly at Priest, with no Risky Skipper package, which can be weak against Priest, but instead decides to run the additional minions, ramming speed, Evil Quartermasters. It's quite the interesting take on it. And then Zalae, he also has an interesting deck in this lineup. Our T-Mobile deck spotlight for the day, which I didn't really know what to label it. Lorinda, who's our statistician, labeled it a Minion Priest. But I just called it Control Priest because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, it's got tools, control tools, I guess. It's got a Soul Mirror, so it's Control Priest. But I don't think that does it justice. It runs no Galakron, no Mind Render, very little removal spells. Instead, it's very minion heavy and proactive based, which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the Tempo Mage will be interesting to think about in terms of what it can really do in this series, because Briarthorn's decks are just kind of wacky, just to be quite honest. Briarthorn has some interesting tech that's really unusual.
Yeah. And also, as rough as it is to say, something that we have to point out, Briarthorn, despite making a top 8 in one of the weeks for Swiss in last year's standing, does have the lowest overall win rate in Grandmasters by far, with a 36% total game win rate. The next person in Americas close to him is ETC at a 41%, so almost 5% higher than him. So been a pretty rough go at it for Briarthorn, and he's been trying to do his own thing, right? He's been trying to make his own tech choices. He brought his low curve Highlander Mage in week 1. He brought his aggro rogue specialist deck with the parachute brigand pirate rogue nonsense, I guess, in week number 3, and then week number 2 he did have that super aggressive rogue deck that kind of caught people off guard, that ended up getting him a top 8 and almost putting him in a top 4. He did get pretty close to winning one of those series, so you got to commend him for that, but it's been a tough road other than that throughout the rest of the Swiss.
A win rate in the 30s is not a good performance at all. It's but the good news for Briarthorn is that it's a clean slate, and you get the opportunity to redo everything, right? And if you just kind of win out and do well, you can go to playoffs, and you can even be the one representing the Americas for the finals. That'd be interesting to see. And I think that we've had miraculous runs like that. From people like PNC last year, but who's no longer a Grandmaster right now, but we saw that it was possible. So, I'm not gonna count out Briarthorn just yet. But if it's week 6, week 7, and Briarthorn's still rocking a 35% win rate in the round robin groups, I think it's probably start to be concerning for him.
Yeah.
But we'll see, right? It depends a lot on how this lines up, and we'll get the first games going momentarily as soon as we can get the players in and just getting through all the test practices and stuff. Taking a look at the lineups as well, when you look at the performance of Priest and Druid today, Priest seemed to be doing all right, but Druid definitely seemed to be struggling a lot more right now. And you look at this series and this head-to-head, the fact that Briarthorn even has things like his Zoo Warlock. Are we worried at all for Zalae's Druid?
I'm not worried too much, just because the warrior deck does have a lot of bombs. Maybe that warrior deck is just such an anomaly to me because it's got more minions and more removal in by numbers, right? But the removal isn't the removal that you normally expect. It only runs one brawl, but double coerce. So there are so many times when you're playing in certain matchups, and I would include Druid in here because sometimes you need the second brawl, where you're like, okay, I can space out this brawl because I know I have a second one, and that allows me to push this much more damage, which will then allow me to win the game. Whereas he doesn't have the luxury of being able to do that. Even though it is removal heavy, I don't think it's the right removal, and that's where I think the weakness of the deck is. But yeah, I mean, it's like on paper, his archetypes do have like favorable matchups against Druid, but maybe it won't line up in practicality because of some of the tech choices that were made. I guess the other decks for Briarthorn that weren't banned are pretty standard. The Zoo Warlock is standard almost to a T, with Cold Neophyte being the only like arguable choice that some players are making. And then his Druid is pretty standard as well. Double Broomstick, single Crystal Power, no Survival of the Fittest spell Druid. So we'll see. But my eyes are definitely going to be on that deck that's on your screen right now, the Bomb Warrior from Briarthorn.
Yeah, Bomb Warrior featuring Clockwork Goblin. What year is it? Just kind of unusual to see it as we take a look at how our players are looking. And it seems that the excuse me, sorry. Seeing as how these two players and their lineups have kind of matched up, we'll see if that Bomb Warrior can really show up big for Briarthorn. We kind of entertained the idea of having Briarthorn's deck be the deck spotlight for today. But, TJ, I just want to come out and say it. I was not able to win a game with Briarthorn's Warrior deck in our practice sessions. It was very, very difficult to do so. And I think it's because, one, I don't understand necessarily some of the choices in the deck. Like maybe Briarthorn specifically has matchups in mind. We just kind of like had it play against a few different kinds of decks that we knew Briarthorn would match up against during this weekend. But it didn't look good. So Briarthorn either clearly sees something with this game plan that we don't, and I think we're going to go with that. But we'll see if some of his tech choices will end up paying off here in this series.
Yeah. Only time will tell, Daniel. Time will tell. I'm still ready to be proven wrong by it, but we shall see. Game number 1, won't see the Warrior yet. Briarthorn's going to be playing the Zoo Warlock, which I mentioned, pretty standard. Does have the double Colt Neophyte, is running a Pen Flinger, which has become pretty standard. Single Soul Shear, single Diseased Vulture. Everything else are things that you would normally expect to be in a Zoo Warlock deck these days. Zalae playing the Tempo Mage, which I guess some people would call it a little outdated, but not really. It doesn't run the Wand Makers, which are, I mean, that's like the new thing, the new tech. But other than that, everything's just pretty standard. He also runs a Mirror Image, which I actually kind of like the Mirror Image a lot. I think that it does wonders against Druid because it can sometimes protect your Source Apprentice from Lake Thresher. Also, it's very helpful against rogue decks, which might drift man. For Zalae, if he techs his decks a little bit more towards weapon destruction, which actually he didn't, though. Ignore that.
Yeah, it seems like Zalae's playing more of the straight up deck list that we've seen. We saw some people like entertain the idea of playing a dragon package in this Tempo Mage option. We can play like Cobalt Spellkin and Arcane Breath. I think that was a list that Orange was like publicizing a lot. And destroying Ladder as he finished qualified again for another Masters Tour. So we'll see if this Tempo Mage can get it done versus the Zoo Warlock. Starting things off with the lab partner and cram session to draw cards. Zalae's hand looks much more swingy than it does look proactive. Like you want to play Firebrand, then dramatically answer a board state. Or you want to play Ras and try to get a big AoE sweep. And so it looks like he's going to be the one on defensive foot here. There's not too many things he can do proactively.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward. I was thinking last turn maybe you set up the Firebrand, but then you might be vulnerable to Soulfire or Soul Shear. Because honestly, you kind of expect Dark Glare in that position, because it's a 2-of when you hold on the hero power from the Glide, but the 1-of Disease Vulture instead comes out, and now Zalae is, already behind on board.
I wonder.
No, he can, be thankful that there's no mechs in the deck for Ursatron to summon, to draw into the hand. That's the upside, Dan. The
Sure.
bright side. But as far as what his plays are here, he's pretty limited. He could go for Firebrand, Ray of Frost, and just, see where the damage goes, and then, try and use things to trade up going into next turn. I like that. He'd rather damage go on to the Disease Vulture if Briarthorn wants to trade. So I like the freeze on the Ursatron over the Disease Vulture. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah, it seems like Zalae really taking his time. He's very methodical about his approach. It actually is kind of a signature of Zalae, where when he's in this mode, will kind of hyper focus and think through his turns and kind of rarely take action until the rope starts, unless of course it's a fairly straightforward play. Briarthorn starting things off with the Soulfire in his turn. Discards Hand of Gul'dan.
What?
God Gamer, can he do it again? Actually, he probably wants to take advantage of the Disease Vulture while he can.
He just ripped it.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Wait. Oh my gosh, he can even summon another 3-cost minion with this Pen Flinger if he wants to fling it at himself. Is there anything bad about that? I feel like it's actually a really good play because it also charges your Flesh Giant. Wow.
Yeah.
Big tempo development coming out from Briarthorn.
Yeah, I like the play. The order seems... I mean, I guess it gives him a lower chance to discard the Hand of Gul'dan, but it also gives you a chance to maybe you don't even need to use Soulfire in that instance. If you get a Rush minion. Like a Diving Griffin.
Oh, well,
hey,
don't
it
get
worked
to,
out.
We don't see that. It worked out great. Apologies that we don't get to see what Zalae has picked. Wow, we found a Flame Ward. As Flame Ward happens to be very good against Briarthorn's board.
Yes, indeed.
Time runs out on me.
Because he's looking for some kind of way to either keep up the resources in his hand or to impact the board. I imagine that this Cream session was better than the other options that were at his disposal. Briarthorn picks up a second Flesh Giant.
Yep. Can he protect this Pen Flinger?
Totally.
I guess it's kind of useless though. Yeah, I was thinking Soul Share, but if you're assuming things are gonna die, you might as well just let it go, Dan.
Right. What's tricky is he knows that this came off of a magic trick situation, and therefore Zalae playing a secret has to be very deliberate. He finds that Flame Ward, dealing with the entire board, and now Briarthorn gets to kind of charge his Dark Glare up.
Yep, expired
Starting Hand of Gul'dan.
There's a little bit of problem with hand space here, though. If Zalae were to kill off the expired merchant with fill up the hand with Hand of Cool Dance. Oh, but finds Ray's dead. Okay.
Oh, okay. Prioritizing Cult Neophyte over the Flesh Giant.
I guess wants to go for both Flesh Giants at the same time.
Right. I guess the way he views it is that he'd want to commit to the Giants simultaneously to optimize the amount of pressure. I guess from this perspective, Zalae has two options. He could play Ras and just kind of slightly extend onto the board, or he can simply like play a Mana Giant onto the board and try to reduce mana pressure, or he can play Arcane Intellect and draw and ping this this expired merchant. Either way, he doesn't have good plays in front of him at the moment.
Yeah. Either way, he's giving up a significant amount of tempo because like this Mana Giant dies on board, but it might be the hardest card for him to use. He does have a copy of Carnage Calling in deck, but not in hand. So without that, Mana Giant is just as good as an 8/8. All right, so Briarthorn, so many options here. The biggest thing is he wants to make sure that he's spending some mana before he like refreshes mana, if that's what he were to go for. But I mean, he only has the hero power as far as mana refresh goes. Oh my gosh, Ray's dead.
Ooh, more ways to generate mana. Has to be careful not to extend too far down, but looks like he's doing just fine right now.
Okay, trading first with the Cold Neophyte to try and make sure that he has a high chance of getting that back. Doesn't get it back.
How far does he want to extend, though?
There is so much untapped power.
If he goes full out to the board, he is a little bit vulnerable to like a randomly generated Frost Nova. I guess it doesn't really matter. He's still presenting enough of a threat. Zalae looks like he's in pretty big trouble. The Zoo Warlock is crushing.
Yeah. Man, Giant too expensive. And now, yeah, there's no way for him to generate Frost Nova. He just doesn't have the mana to be able to do it. So what do you have to Arcane Intellect and then freeze one of these? There's 9, 10, 21 damage on board.
What to do?
You wouldn't be dead, but it'd be very close. Be dead to a Soulfire when there's just one left. And then you'd have to have the most miraculous turn outside of that, which would involve Sorcerer's Apprentice plus a lot of other help.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, there's not many options here for Zalae that he can choose to do,
Okay.
so he goes Primordial Studies. It's not enough.
Yeah, I do like the Primordial Studies fit in here though, because if he picks up Astromancer Solarian, he can play that freeze, and that gives him another potential out. But I mean, Zalae's next draw has to certainly be Sorcerer's Apprentice, and then just go for a big turn with a lot of draw.
Right, or Briarthorn has to have no direct damage, which... Does he have any... Does he
One Soul
have
Fragment.
any Soul Fragments left? He could just play... Doesn't he have lethal if he has a Soul Fragment in his deck? Excuse me. If he plays his Shadowlight Scholar. I guess he can't kill a minion, so...
Yeah, he
that's
can't
probably
call
the
off a
big
minion. It was just Soulfire.
Yeah, it was just Soulfire. Oh well. Looks like the same problem still exists here. And Zalae needs to draw. Oh, he can devolve into Doomsayer.
Yeah. I think I want to see what else is in the box first, though. See if we can get something from this Arcane Intellect. Yeah, there are multiple scenarios on board to get a 2-drop. There's the
Right.
Wretched Reclaimer down 1. There's Darkler down 1. Disease Vulture being hit twice. Okay, Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh, gives you
Conjurer's
2
Calling, though.
chances.
Yeah, 2 chances, and it's up to Zalae to see
I'll be just like you.
if you take 2 chances of Doomsayer, or if you draw 1 more.
Runs out on me.
Nah, because even if you, if you draw 1 more and you pick up Mana Cycle and you don't have enough mana to play a freeze, you'd have to get multiple Ray of Frost, and you die anyway. All right, now the
Unless you
Evolving
picked
Missiles.
up Magic Trick to get Frost Nova.
Okay, yeah, Magic Trick. All right, didn't get the Doomsayer.
It's unlikely no matter what he's doing, but that does end up going Briarthorn's way, who's off to a good start. 1-0 Zoo Warlock deck. As he stares down Zalae into the most competitive staring contest that you'll see in Grandmasters. Warlock up to a 1-0 lead. Briarthorn has his Warrior and a Druid remaining. We do have question marks over that Warrior, but we'll see. But for now, off to a good start.
Yeah, and took the risk early on with the Soulfire on it, and was rewarded with it hitting the. It was a 50% chance because he had 4 cards in hand, with 2 being Hand of Gul'dan. Nailed that, which was kind of the start of just him running away with the board. And once he reached that critical mass, Zalae had no chance. Needed desperation, randomly generated freezes, and couldn't find that. Which it happens a lot of times in Mage. Just can't find the answer if you're not ahead early.
Yep, that's right. So with that, that's going to lead us to, I believe, our final break of the day. So we're going to take a few minutes, and when we get back, we're going to continue Zalae versus Briarthorn and find out who gets a real good start to their season. Stay tuned.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
It sounds weird. I guess if I had to choose a Hearthstone card to ride on, I would choose Yogg-Saron, because things would be very interesting and I would like to see what would happen.
I would probably choose Alexstrasza because it's been really long and I think the art is very, very cool.
Well, I would choose the Deathwing because Deathwing is my favorite dragon in World of Warcraft.
I'd want to pick something, comfortable, so I'd go with King Crush. Nice big dinosaur, so I can crush all the other things in the carousel.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. It's our final push for today as we have the remainder of Zalae versus Briarthorn. Briarthorn's Zoo Warlock making Warlock look pretty good, and perhaps why maybe they're a class that's being evaluated by the upcoming balance patch 18.2. That'll make changes to cards like Dark Glare, which I'm sure many people are split upon right now. It's actually a big point of discussion in the community, whether or not we even needed balance patch versus some people are like, I think we needed one, but I'm not sure about the cards, and some people are like, those cards are perfectly fine. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects next week's of games. However, for now, we will put a pin on that and go to Warrior for game number 2. Briarthorn's Bomb Warrior, I told you, TJ, couldn't win a single game with it during our practice sessions. And I like to think it's player difference, you know? Like, maybe it's just I don't understand Briarthorn's deck, and I was using it improperly. I was playing matches poorly. But we shall see, because this other deck, the Control Priest from Zalae, is our T-Mobile deck Spotlight. I think this deck is pretty powerful, too.
Yeah, it is powerful. And to be fair, in a couple of those practice games, I was blazing some of your bombs for a very long time. And I don't think that's going to be the case on average, but we'll see. This deck from Zalae, which was our T-Mobile deck Spotlight, very minion heavy, very proactive gameplay focused, very tempo focused. Not a lot of control spells. No like Shadow Word Ruin. No direct removal like Penance. Instead, it runs like more minions. It does run 2 Shadow Word Deaths and Soul Mirror. That's like the only hard removal spells. Everything else is play a minion as a tempo or play a minion to steal another minion in the case of Cabal Acolyte or the Cabal Shadow Priest with the double wave of apathy that the deck runs. So very interesting take on the deck. And Wand Maker making an appearance in all these classes that have very powerful 1-mana spells like Priest and Mage, I think has been kind of a revelation for a lot of players, and that's why we're seeing in more and more decks from Priest and Mage alike.
Fair enough. As we go into game number 2, do want to remind people that if you want to try some of these decks, go to playhearthstone.com/esports, where you can find all of their deck lists and give it a try. There's a copy deck code at the very bottom where you can go ahead and import them into your collection. And you too can lose all your practice games to TJ Sanders and Alex Barhorst if you so desire. I got smashed when I tried to play this deck. It just felt like the deck kind of lacked a true identity. It was like a bomb warrior, but it wasn't really good at making comebacks onto the board. So it didn't really seize the tempo. And the games where I did, the bombs didn't even really matter too much because I was playing cards like Clockwork Goblin, and maybe like 1 or 2 bombs would show up later. And like these other cards that are really powerful, like a Risky Skipper package, just didn't exist to give the utility or those tempo swings that Warrior is kind of known for at the moment. So I am eagerly awaiting to see if this Bomb Warrior, and I can see the light, TJ, because I want to be corrected. I want to be wrong about this deck. I want it to be one of the most ingenious versions of Warrior that we've seen. A Galakron with no invocations. Just puts just 3 a turn.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. I'm actually surprised with the Corsair Cache opening against Priest that he didn't keep Cutting Class. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that that card is worth keeping in the mulligan if you have a guaranteed weapon. No, I'm not wrong.
Job's done.
With a guaranteed weapon opener, Cutting Class jumps up in It's already in the top 5 highest win rate cards. I assume that with a guaranteed weapon or with alongside a Corsair Cache Keep, that Cunning Class jumps up a considerable amount.
Sure.
And it jumps up even more when you narrow it down to against Priest.
On wings of destruction.
I can buy it. I mean, Priest isn't exactly a class that will punish you too hard for playing things like Galakron, so we shall see. So let's start things off with the ability to get another Draconic Studies and make his dragon even cheaper. I'm not sure how important it is for him to get Murzon online quicker versus just simply have a proactive threat. Oh, wow.
Evasive Draconid. Oh, okay, never mind. Second Murzon it is.
Yeah, I am curious about that second Murzon. It feels like one Murzon might already be like it's like useful, right? If your opponent plays weapon, upgrade, and draws a card, then you can just use that to do the same exact thing right back. It does feel a little greedy though, right? Like in terms of like trying to pick the maximum value card. And we'll see if that even becomes playable, right? Like maybe he's going to be holding on to Murzon for a long time because the battle cry isn't that useful, and having an 8 in the board isn't enough. Briarthorn really thinking through what he's going to do on turn 2, or
it looks like
he's disconnected. Oof. Well, I mean, he just missed a turn, which is quite unfortunate. And now it looks like Zalae sees what's in the hand, sees the Galakron. And, I wasn't sure if Briarthorn was just really intent and staring at his hand, or his camera was frozen. It's really hard to tell with this guy sometimes. Put it out there, TJ.
I had no idea, honestly.
I can't tell.
I started to pick it up towards like the last 10 seconds of the rope when I started to pick it up. But Briarthorn, there's the only smile he gives us is one when he gets Calicos and Malagos from Dream Portals back to back, which happened in week 2, or 2 when he disconnects from a game and misses a turn. That's what it takes to get him to smile. Kind of funny, but
feel TJ.
I know. Let's see if he can, wrestle back from missing a turn. It basically just delayed everything, right? Like his Wrench Caliber most likely would have come out this turn, or last turn with a coin instead of having a Corsair Cache. We'll see.
Yeah, thankfully, it looks like he is back in the game. Zalae finds an opportunity to play Raised Dead or Sethic Veil Weaver. The minions that have died have been Madame Lazul so far, and can go ahead and get her back. Okay, sees Bladestorm, Evil Quartermaster. Reasonable cars. No cars that set off alarm bells, though.
Yep. Making sure that you weave in heals is, I'd say, pretty important because it just gives you more health to work with. At the same time, though, if you present minion pressure, that can oftentimes force weapon swings, which in turn is also heal. It's just resources used instead of just a hero power that's given to you.
Heat of the Forge.
Picked up the Cunning Class anyways. Who cares about mulligan decisions?
I mean, I'm just looking at it right now, and it just seems like there's not too much to get off of a Murzon, so I like this Cabal Shadow Priest on the top.
Yeah, that's why I kind of was like, yeah, Murzon is good in the matchup because a lot of times you can get a Wrench Caliber. or like get a Galakron, or worst case like draw cards. But 2, it's kind of hard. You'll be hard pressed to find like 2 scenarios where you can get great Galakron or great Murazons. It is an 8/8, but like Evasive Dragon, it's a 7/7. Come out a turn sooner. It can't be targeted by spells, so the double coerce or ramming speed that's in Briarthorn's deck are less effective. But Briarthorn going to get the Galakron on right now, and it's Blastmaster Boom that gets buffed. Picks it up on turn 6 with the coin, which means that he can play it on 7.
God gamer.
What a gamer, man.
I mean, he has no way to invoke Galakron, and he just needs to hit the best minion, which is either Blastmaster Boom, Deathwing, or Kronk. I guess Dr. Krasnov is also a good hit, too.
Yeah, Dr. Krasnov's actually really good. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of consistent pressure over the course of the game with the 3 damage hero power.
TJ, I am convinced it is player difference. I can never do that. Does he want to just play Murazon right here? He gets a coin. He gets Galakron. He gets the ability to pressure his opponent right back and race him.
Yeah, I like that. He does give up his heal, though.
He's got heal in the form of Renew.
Yeah, and he will gain a burst. Yeah. And he also has another Galakron. That's right.
Yeah. He's also resilient against Blade Storm because he has a 1/1 and a 4/5.
I wonder.
Yeah, that's true. And there's only one Brawl in the deck.
I think there's a compelling reason to play Murazon here because it's maximum pressure.
I'm jamming it.
Okay, so it's not quite Murazon, but functionally does something similar, and he gets the Wand Maker instead.
Okay, so why would he want to hold on to one of the Murazons? Because if he plays the Murazon, he gets an extra 8/8, but minus a +1 mana, minus a 6/6 in hand. What is he waiting for with the Murazon? I really wanted an 8/8, and it seems like it would fit with Zalae's auto.
With his like mindset, right? Which is like play the biggest thing so you can threaten your opponent.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saving it for like another dragon that he wants in his deck, but he doesn't really play anything else except the Cobalt Spellkin. Because he's not playing a Highlander deck. I am curious. Very, very curious.
Does he want to fill up his hand? Withdraw to negate bombs? I don't know. Like, this is... I'm racking my brain for why he didn't play Murazon last turn. Because it was... Like, yes, you give up the buff on a minion that you're drawing, but you gain an 8/8, which is usually better than whatever minion you draw with the buff. You also gain a mana crystal, which allows you to fit in the Renew, which could help you find a different game plan. I don't know. He does need to pressure, though, because the longer this game goes on, the more it favors Briarthorn, I feel. Eventually, the bombs hit a critical mass. You get deep enough in your deck where you're consistently drawing, at least one a turn or one every 2 turns.
Yeah, it's surprising to me that Zalae has deprioritized such like proactive development so much. Instead has gone for like a value approach. Oh wow, and Wandmaker giving him Shield Slam, limiting the amount of times he can generate useful spells. Definitely something that we didn't really discuss very much, but losing the ability to get Priest cards versus Warrior cards is a pretty important distinction.
It is.
Treasure? Loot?
All right.
What more can I ask for?
Or Pillager Course and get him, I suppose. A lot of respect for the board.
Okay, Horde Pillager can easily get traded into. Maybe even just an opportunity to use Shield Slam now, since there's no guarantee that you will be. I guess you could generate other spells to do so. But yeah, I like using the Shield Slam here, just collecting value while you can. Also makes Raise Dead more playable. Okay, Murazon here still seems very reasonable as well. Still choosing not to.
Dr. Boom's scheme! That's the choice. That's the juice right there, Dan.
Unbreakable, but time is fleeting.
There it is.
I mean, it does
There it is.
give him armor.
You know how much
Survive
health?
Boombots.
You know how much health that's going to gain him? At least
Like
2.
5?
Mortal Strike too. I mean, he's just going to kill him.
Oh yeah, he's just gonna get direct damage.
This game has been so weird. I don't know what's happening. I legitimately just don't.
All I know is that Briarthorn's warrior is making reverse progress, TJ.
Like
he transformed to Galakron, and somehow Zalae's gaining health on average every turn.
What if?
Which is consistent with our findings.
It is. It is. At a certain point, though, I feel like you just have to ignore the board and just say, "Have your board. I'm gonna draw a brawl." This is why I put all this removal in my deck. So I, as Galakron, do not have to worry about pesky minions. My removal will deal with it. I will deal with your life
I
total.
am unbreakable, but time is fleeting.
Yeah, is Briarthorn kind of hoping that this goes to fatigue, and then just like Zalae will just get comboed by bombs? At the pace that we're playing, he's not going to be able to even get all of his weapon swings out.
Yeah, the problem is his deck doesn't have like a super amount of armor gain. It has shield blocks. That's it. It doesn't have Risky Skipper, Armor Smith, that type of thing where you can go for a big burst of armor at a certain point of the game to negate fatigue. Also, playing Galakron so early, he gives up his ability to armor, which may not seem like the most impactful thing because you want the recurring damage, but he hasn't used the hero power for recurring damage. He's using his weapons to trade, so it goes against wanting to play Galakron early if you're just going to keep trading with the weapon. So it feels like it's at his deck is at odds with itself, and he's at odds with his deck simultaneously.
Okay, Murazon finally gets onto the board. Pretty
Nice.
good, Murazon.
Nice.
Ability to push damage. Ooh, upgrade. Bet he feels real safe right about now, as he does have the Mortal Strike lethal next turn.
How desperate are we here? I'm thinking he could go for a full trade down.
Oh yeah,
And then
I
a Doc
like
Blastmaster
the trade.
Boom Blade Storm.
Yeah,
Trade both of these into Murazon. Blastmaster Boom Blade Storm.
I like it.
You know, or hero power.
It might. I mean, I guess he just doesn't feel any urgency. Like, he sees his opponent aggroing him down. He doesn't have any life gain, by the way. This also could go disastrously wrong if he ends up killing the Murs on the fort.
Yep, exactly like that.
Oh no! Wait! What if he just went face with what?
What if he?
TJ, what if he just went face with it? What?
Did he die?
What?
If he had just done the play, Dan! If he had just done it! If he went face once! No!
Oh my gosh, what did I just witness? That was a game of Hearthstone. Whew. Okay, wow. That was pretty sloppy. But in the end, that was a really exciting finish. I don't. The last time we saw a 4 consecutive bomb finish, and it ended the game. I'm reminded of the Strife Crow Firebat scenario, where Firebat I think drew 4 bombs in a row and died. And it was like a real low statistical probability. I can't believe what we just watched. Usually we throw out some caster like, oh, like these ridiculous, almost impossible scenarios have to happen in order for him to win the game. And almost that happened, like as long as he just actually went face any of the time instead of trading as much as he did.
Or instead of going for Deathwing in that last second there, just play Blast, trade down, Blastmaster Boom Bladestorm. You kill off everything but 1 minion, so you're averaging 2.5 times 5 because you're going to hit 1 minion, which is 12.5 damage. So then that reduces the amount of bombs that you need to, what?
Yeah.
3 on average? And if you get a little bit fortunate, then you need, what, 2 bombs? And that doesn't even count for if he had just, like, traded 1 less and relied more heavily on removal instead of his weapon, because he, like, died with ramming speed in hand and things like that. And I don't know. It's a weird a weird finish to a weird game. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh my gosh. TJ, it truly is player difference. I can't describe it anything other than that. I do not understand how to make Briarthorn's deck work, but apparently if you just stack all the bombs on top of your opponent's deck, Bomb Warrior is the sickest deck in the game.
It's like he was planning for it. It's like he was saying, I'm just going to keep trading. I'm going to let him sit at 30. Keep trading down. And then I'm gonna wait till I know that there's like at least 4 bombs on the top of his deck. That was his plan. But then he like faltered right at the finish line and didn't do the thing that killed him with the 4 bombs. Ugh.
All right. It's a new game. It's Druid. Druid is, I think, definitely one of the more beatable classes for the warrior because you get so much time to punch him in the face. If they don't ramp. The bad news is there's no weapon or sign of it in Briarthorn's hand to punch him in the face, and Zalae has ramp. So it does seem like that already is a bad exchange for Briarthorn in the beginning here.
Yeah. Also, like, especially with the version of Druid that Zalae is playing, I feel like Briarthorn is going to miss having Double Brawl. Because Zalae is playing the full-on spell version with double exotic mount seller, almost the full suite of beasts, Ysera Unleashed, and he's playing a Savage Roar. So there's going to be so many times where he has to, because he only has 1 brawl, has to take the risk and not brawl away a board that may kill him with Savage Roar. Like that's a scary proposition to me. And so we'll see if that's going to play into effect. He does have, I mean, his hand is so much removal right now. He's got Answers for Days. He's got Lord Barav. He's got the Brawl. He's got Coerce. One thing he's missing is his actual win condition. And there you go. Corsair Cash picked up. Means he can start getting those Wrench Caliber swings out. Start drawing cards with Cutting Class. So he's online, Dan. We're online.
So many choices.
Yes, we are very close to getting online. The problem is it too slow?
Oh, man. Yeah, the question is, like, do you use removal on this, even? Because you can take the 4 next turn, like Wrench Caliber plus Sword and Board. Something along those lines. It's like, what do you expect Zalae's next turn to be? Ramped up to 6, played a 5-drop on 6, and then going to 7, you expect exotic mount seller plus stuff, overflow plus stuff. Maybe you want to save that removal for whatever the more powerful play is going to come out next turn. His deck does have a lot more like single target removal though than we're used to seeing with double Blade Storm, double Coerce, ramming speed.
Okay, I mean, I can buy it, but for now, this is looking like a good opportunity for Zalae to develop here. I don't think he needs to commit too much more than this, actually. Maybe just even taunting up the Iron for Grizzly. Or not taunting up, but making it a little bit more resilient. I like making health points super awkward for warriors, so that way Bladestorm is not nearly as effective.
Yeah, and it's awkward here. You really don't want to brawl this.
Right. By the way, how often does this Python come out by? It feels like it comes out of Teacher's Pet like 50% of the time. And like Mount Seller summons it. I just feel like I see this happen all the time. It's obviously confirmation bias, but there just seems to be the Python always. I don't know.
Good card, Dan.
It's a great minion to get if you're trying to be
Good
resilient
card.
against Brawl. It's a good card. Nature studies can summon you more Pythons.
I wonder how much he wants to go in here, though. I think just nature studies, just summon one more. Put on enough pressure.
Gift of the
Soul
Wild.
of the Forest and Gift of the Wild.
Forest. I like that your eyes darted right and mine darted left. Both those picks are pretty nuts. The reason why I like it is because I like Gift of the Wild is because he could threaten to kill in 2 turns if he has that next turn. Soul of Forest does combo better with Savage Roar though. That's in his hand.
All right.
Jeez, King Mukla, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Briarthorn dead to Savage Roar. Gotta respect the board. Couple ways to go about it.
All right, how many bombs does Zalae have in his deck?
One.
One.
All right. Wait. Okay.
Oh, this is
fine.
This is cute. I like that.
It just leaves the handler
Right.
up, but he didn't want to part ways with the Blade Storm. He could have like sorted boarded, and then Lord Brob Blade Storm. That would have been a full clear.
Well, wouldn't it be? Yeah, see, there's a taunt in the way, right? So,
Well, you sword and board first, then Lord Brob, everything's 1 health, then you Blade Storm.
oh, you're right. Yeah, but saving
Yeah.
Bladestorm probably is just better.
Yeah, but Blade Storm's a little bit more awkward against this deck because nothing is ever.
It's not clean. You're
Equal.
rarely gonna kill like more than 2 minions at best, right?
Yeah, unless they're playing like a Sarah Unleashed onto an empty board, or they
Right.
play Guardian Animals on 7, and it's both Twilight Runners.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But he is running a little bit. I don't know. He's not running low on removal because he also has Deathwing Mad Aspect. I guess it's not that much damage, right? Like you're leaving a 4/4 on board. You're also developing a 2/3. He's getting mana out of the way by developing this 2/3, which gains armor. And maybe that Lackey finds a Spell Lackey, which is the removal he needs to keep this going. So.
Well, this is looking like pretty good scenario here for Zalae. And I think with just this, Savage Roar still deals 8 plus the 10 that he can deal. So he's got 18 damage and change. Zalae still taking it kind of slow. But it's not like he could have extended too much further. I do like the Soul of the Forest play here. Makes it really resilient against things like Deathwing.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, be still just Deathwing here. Next turn, you Horde Pillager Cutting Class.
Oh, he's gonna Blade Storm and then Horde
What
Pillager.
can I ask for?
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Finds another
Another
Deathwing.
Deathwing. All right.
So we joked in testing that it felt like wow, bomb being drawn. That we felt like Deathwing was basically Briarthorn's second brawl attempt, right? Like,
Yeah.
except it has upside of potentially sticking and maybe landing in damage.
Mm-hmm.
Nature Studies for Zalae. Trying to see if he can find something that's pretty impactful. I would say that if he even has Survival of the Fittest, you should just play that right here. Guardian Animals. But does he have anything left to pull?
One Lake Thresher.
How good would that Glowfly Soul of the Forest play be right now?
Wait. No, he has another Twilight Runner, right? Because he only played the one Twilight Runner that he rushed with the Broomstick. And he played a Teacher's Pet on 5. Yeah, he does. He has full value from this, I believe.
Okay, that's right.
But then he also has
A lot of
another
that
Guardian
stuff
Animals in his deck.
Right. Because a lot of that stuff that we saw was generated through the Mount Seller. So that makes sense. Ysera Unleashed hits the board, and now this is another big inflection point in this game. Can Briarthorn deal with the Waves of Dragons? And chances are he's not going to be able to very easily.
Yeah.
Deathwing against this board? Pretty solid.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And doesn't get to follow it up with anything, and it will be at 3 health, 4 health. Actually, important trade there to play around Bog Beam. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, Briarthorn also, because he keeps using, because he took a lot of damage and he's using his weapon to now trade, he's also kind of within a striking distance, which is like if Zalae sticks like 2 minions, he's gonna kill Briarthorn. This Glowfly Swarm might actually look pretty appealing, but it actually doesn't really do a lot for Zalae because of the threat of that Blade Storm.
Oh. That's not good here.
Oh wow, yeah. Would you Bog Beam and Hero Power down this Deathwing?
Waits for no one.
Oof. I mean, it does set up a lethal, and you don't want to get punished by Blade Storm, so this makes the most sense.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage to take.
Ooh. It is. And with bombs being shuffled in the deck, right? It's like, this is...
Yeah.
Now we're starting to enter dangerous territory.
Yeah, I mean, he could just Deathwing again. It's all much he
Right.
struggled and still has 2 health remaining on this Deathwing, so...
I think I also really like the Blade Storm, Clockwork Goblin, Horde Pillager setup again. Just shuffle another bomb.
Maybe. No.
But you might be right. Like, he just used Bog Beam, and he just showed that he's unable to deal with Deathwing. Brawl. Interesting.
Okay, so I guess this is... I guess he just really wants to swing his weapon into a minion.
Well, I guess he's afraid of, like, Savage Roar?
Yeah, but he could just Blade Storm, I feel.
Right. I thought Blade Storm was really efficient for a tempo perspective.
Now if a lot of portals come out, he doesn't have a way to deal with like a lot of big portals. That's my concern.
That's his only brawl.
That's his only brawl. Let's say 3 portals came out there, and it was like 8/8, 4/12, and 7/7. You know, 3 big dragons. How does he deal with it? Deathwing doesn't clear it. Well, Deathwing might clear it. I guess he's just really relying on Deathwing to get him out.
The double Thresher is really weak to Blade Storm, though.
Well, he's going to trade 1 in. Oh no, yeah, this is weak to Bladestorm.
Yeah. And Briarthorn, all he has to do is swing at this broomstick, and Bladestorm is fully unlocked. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. There's actually like a game plan formulating here now. And also, I don't think it's Bladestorm. I think it's Deathwing.
It's ramming speed.
It's ramming speed.
Because they
TJ,
attack
it's
each other,
time.
and then they attack, and then the swipe attacks each other again.
But TJ, it's time. You play Deathwing, you swing face.
Yes,
he
but
can't
Dan,
deal with it, and then you just kill him.
You get to show off a ramming speed interaction.
It's time.
Okay, you're right. That's what.
Zalae just said that he's willing to use his own face to trade.
Yeah, he's dead.
Not necessarily. There's 15 showing. And he's at 16. If any, wait. Zalae might kill Briarthorn next turn.
That's if he doesn't armor up and doesn't draw a bomb. I mean, there's nothing for Dr. Krasnov to attack into. Yeah, I mean... he can coerce his Deathwing and then Bladestorm.
Yes, I was going to say almost exactly that. What if you just kill your own minion so you can kill his minion?
Oh, he's not going to do it. He's going to take the bomb out.
Well, there's a lot of bombs.
He doesn't have any nature studies left. I don't think there's any way that he dies, right?
I think you're right. And a bomb gets drawn. Briarthorn wins game 3. And Zalae's Druid deck not able to get over the hump. We're kind of talking about Druid and how it might just be the class that gets targeted.
Oh, is that a smile?
Briarthorn really feeling himself right now,
A
both
small
metaphorically
smirk,
and
maybe?
physically.
Small smirk? Nice.
I mean, now he just has to win with his Druid, and we know that Briarthorn's Druid is pretty hard to stop sometimes. The momentum that he had last time we saw him on broadcast, he was unstoppable, TJ.
Yeah, he's actually playing a card for card. Oh, nope, not card for card, exactly the same. There's one card difference. He's playing double Wild Growth, whereas Zalae is playing double Ironbark. Card for card, the same Druid deck as Zalae, except for that one difference. Briarthorn has has a little bit more ramp. Zalae has a little bit more taunt. That's it. Both playing double Broomstick, both playing No Survival, both playing double Mount Cellar, same Beast package.
All right, well, if that same package is any indication as will happen from the last time, we'll see Briarthorn absolutely smash his way to his first series victory. As Zalae looked like he could be starting off on the wrong foot. Division B is not an unfamiliar position for Zalae, but obviously not exactly ideal for any player involved. And if we go to the Druid Mirror, it's such a volatile matchup that it really could end up being a really dangerous spot here for Zalae. I am kind of worried. We shall see. Let's go into game number 1. Or sorry, game number 4, which could be the last game.
Let's see it.
Briarthorn's able to get a ramp. He keeps the Lightning Bloom.
Hard keeps Lightning Bloom. He's got faith, Dan.
Or he's just afraid, actually.
I think
it's quite possibly the other side.
Yeah. With coin, like Lightning Bloom, I don't know. I think the argument is still out on that one. There's Lightning Bloom keepers and there's Lightning Bloom throwers.
Oh, Fungal Fortunes. TJ, I am worried about Fungal Fortunes. I've used that card one time and I got mega punished.
I mean, he has 3 minions in his hand, Dan.
Okay.
He's gonna rip it. He's doing it.
1 minion.
Broomstick, see ya.
2 minions.
Teacher's pet, see ya.
Briarthorn doesn't look super happy with that outcome.
Are you sure?
I can't make a read on
it. Got him 1 card closer to Overgrowth. That's all he was looking for. He didn't care about the other minions. He just wanted to get 1 card closer to Overgrowth.
That's true, and that's actually a really good argument for it. So,
yeah,
finds the Overgrowth because of that.
Yeah, but I mean, this Speaker Gidra completely unanswered.
Wow,
and that's an Overgrowth Speaker Gidra, which is a 5/8 with Wind Fury smacking you. And one of the things that he discarded with the Fungal Fortunes was a broom, and so now he just has less potential answers for it. Still no answer.
How curious.
He's really hoping that Zalae can't answer this, but he also just gave a target for Guardian Animals to really feast upon. But Briarthorn has to take an optimistic route here because Zalae is just so far ahead.
Ooh. Actually, few outs for lethal here. Mark of Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And he could still play Guardian Animals even if he whiffs with the Nature Studies. Or could just go for Exotic Mount Seller.
Yeah, he's hovering over Exotic Mount Seller, which I think is also okay because Briarthorn has kind of demonstrated a lack of ability to deal with big threats right now. What?
There it is, Dan!
It's always once per game. I feel like I see this card whenever an opponent has the capability of summoning it.
You're right.
Oh, that's why he's okay with it because he has 2 Broomsticks.
Oh. Okay. I would have summoned the other Broomstick.
Not really what you want to see.
Okay. So it needs 3+ attack minion. Okay, gets it. Now I can trade over everything but the Python. And keep his Mount Seller up. But that's where the Guardian Animals comes in for Zalae. And that is a Lightning Bloom used from Briarthorn as well, so he's going to go into his next turn with only 6 mana, so even if he rips the Guardian Animals himself off the top, it's still going to be a pretty tough road for him to come back in the game, considering he's at 13 health.
As Zalae can kind of just pick however he wants to use to trade this. Maybe just think about his opponent having Guardian Animals right back if he draws out top of his deck.
Yeah.
Nature Studies could also give him like a Bog Beam in the situation. Yeah, I think it's totally fine just to kind of play it and maybe even save Nature Studies because you have the second Exotic Mount, so there.
Ooh.
All right, so Briarthorn.
Yeah. So 9 damage on board, 10 showing. I'm surprised he didn't search for lethal with Nature Studies. I guess he didn't have a backup plan if that was the case. But yeah, he found it. In more ways than one.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to say anything, TJ, but look what he summoned.
If he got a second one, or a third one, I guess, the second one that turn.
All right, well, looks like we're going to game 5. The Druid is through, and the only way that Zalae was able to get past Briarthorn was to beat another Druid. Does seem like right now Druid might be the liability, and maybe for anyone who's kind of bringing Druid this weekend, it's scary times.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And not an easy matchup. Again, going into the game 5 here, it's going to be Temple Mage versus Zalae versus the Spell Druid, the Guardian Druid from Briarthorn. So, seeing this one go both ways because Mage is outside of single devolving missiles in the deck. Doesn't have fantastic ways to deal with early Guardian animals, but the goal for Mage is not necessarily to like tempo out and try and kill them early. It's to have like a big swing turn, get an unanswered mana giant onto the board, and then use that to close out the game. There's other things that can play into it, like Shinvala. If you can get a protected Shinvala onto the board early, sometimes even just playing it on 3, because Druid doesn't have a way to answer a 2/5 on 3. Sometimes that can win games pretty early on. So you're looking for those moments where you can place an unanswered threat onto the board and use that to win the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. As we take a look at Zalae's Tempo Mage, has pretty standard things across the board, and we're going to see if he can get that victory. That's really crucial as Zalae heads into a very crucial game 5. It looks like Briarthorn finds the hand he's looking for. Overgrowth and Guardian Animals. It just feels so good from the Druid player's perspective. What can Zalae really do?
Well, not on the coin. You're kind of just looking for threats. You don't really care about spells so much and combos so much. You're kind of just looking for things to play. Thinking like Astromancer Solarian, even like Jandis Brav can sometimes be a good keep. Sorcerer's Apprentice. I mean, Sorcerer's Apprentice doesn't ever feel like a terrible keep. Also, Raz, not bad. Oh, there's Astromancer Solarian.
Yeah, it's a good start. Devolving Missiles could end up being really big too. Sometimes there's just like this dynamic where neither player really extends onto the board, and Devolving Missiles ends up being just like the Giganuts for Tempo Mage.
Yeah.
How
Like Guardian Animals
curious.
play an empty board. Devolving Missiles can be very good.
Time run low.
Right. Well, it is interesting to see how Briarthorn is going to choose to go about this. He does have the ability to ramp this turn, which means he skips his next turn and then he ramps again.
I will crush your delusions of grandeur.
I guess he's just doing this in anticipation of what he can expect on the 2 turns from now, which is playing his Guardian Animals. He can also play his Bog Beam on the following turn because he's going to have his Mana Crystals fully ramped, and now Zalae basically has to set up for what he anticipates to be a good turn 5. So if he knows that his opponent's likely to play that Twilight Runner, he can play this Chinvala ahead of time. And then play Devolving Missiles or play the Firebrand.
Oh!
Oh my gosh.
No way, Jose.
What on earth is this?
Wow.
Okay, didn't find the Twilight Runner, which is actually a big deal.
That
no
is a
card
big
draw.
deal.
Yeah, no card draw is really bad for him right now. But what was that? So now Zalae can deal with this. This is not like the worst possible board for him. He can ping, take it slow. He can play Firebrand. Oh, he's getting Devolving Missiles and Firebrand.
Turn it up.
Oh, he increased the power on board with the help on board. He didn't kill anything. That felt a little bit ambitious because of pretty much exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, Zalae's got good follow-up, but Briarthorn then has good follow-up. Like, we're realistic at a point where both players are just going to empty their hands. Oh my gosh, Nature Studies.
Okay.
Massive here. Like the Innervate first, because you're going to play that anyway to cash on the Beast. Nature Studies looking for something 2 or less. Adorable Infestation. Crystal Song Portal! Whoa!
Okay. Yes, he has no minions in his hand. That looks good to me. TJ, that was the nuts.
It's sick!
That was the nuts. Yes. I approve.
Look at it!
Ironbark Protector! King Mukla! That's like if you fuse King Mukla and Iron for a Grizzly, you get Ironbark Protector.
Also got a Groundskeeper.
Oh, it says explode.
Yeah, this looks real tight right now. Real tight, real nice.
Use everything you can.
I guess so. You can also like utilize this AoE over 2 turns. So you could like Ray of Frost twice. Wait, I guess you still lose your Raz. You know.
He can like ping the Iron for Grizzly, Ray of Frost the Mukla, and then you'll deal 2 damage to everything. It'll kill everything. The only attacking minion will be the exotic Mount Seller, and that would force the attack of the exotic Mount Seller into the Raz.
Right.
And so then you can hopefully kill it the next turn. You only need 2 additional damage.
Right,
you
right.
Kill it on
that makes sense.
Yeah, 3 additional damage. Oh my gosh, the overflow off the top.
Oh.
I mean,
Briarthorn will not be denied. Watch him get this Python, TJ.
I know. 360 Windmill Slide Python.
Oh, that's even better.
That's a Zixer.
Arguably better, TJ.
Yeah. Nah.
Oh, jeez. Zalae looks in real big trouble right now, and I think his best shot is maybe to Jandis, stall for a turn, and then really hope that next turn you can go off with Sorcerer's Apprentice.
What to do?
Yeah, he can't play the Sorcerer's Apprentice here because that's like his key to maybe finding a way out. I don't even want to use...
None of these seem to particularly be good. It looks like Zalae was deliberately taking something, most likely a freeze, like Frost Nova.
Frost Nova, or potentially like even Flame Ward would be good here. Ooh, Ogremancer.
Needed that tech a while ago.
Didn't get the freeze off, but I honestly don't think that freezing that turn was was even good. So the Groundskeeper in the top left, if you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, restore 5 health. Just a heal. It can also be used on a minion. It's a 4 mana 4/5 with taunt. Decent minion.
Yeah, and like almost anything Briarthorn does will start to get him on that train to win the game. I really want to develop kind of proactively here. I want to give Mage the fewest amount of turns to do Mage things, which is like Solarian Prime into Puzzle Box. So anything that involves developing big power is A+ in my book. So Briarthorn puts on this Iron Bark Protector, and now Zalae has a scary clock. It's not a 2-turn lethal setup.
No.
Which I think I would have liked a little bit more out of Briarthorn just to set up his 2-turn lethal. I think he could have done that with Acorn Bear in his Broom instead. If he pushed that down. It doesn't really matter. It's like a really small thing. Yep. But the Mana Giant comes down. Briarthorn finds Nature Studies. Just seems like he's getting crazy amounts of value off his Mount Seller. Wait.
Shall we go again?
What did he just summon?
Well, okay, we've seen like 10 beasts this game before we saw
TJ,
Python.
I'm telling you.
Wait,
I'm not saying that there's
Dan,
a
you're
bug.
right. Every minion has been a Python.
I'm not saying that there's a bug, but there's a weird amount of occurrences where I see Python coming out when it can be summoned. I don't understand why. I feel like ever since I said like, wait, why does this keep happening? I feel like that's when I noticed it. Yeah. I mean, granted, it's a small pool, right? You will end up seeing a lot of repetitions, especially as you put in, hundreds of games. It's just weird. It's strange to me. Briarthorn racking up his advantage. We're kind of writing this one off mentally, but we can stand corrected. If Zalae draws Solarian Prime, there's a chance.
Ah, yes, true.
Okay. Nope. Still too expensive now.
Star Wars Sorcerer Apprentice and hope that you pick up
Mana Cyclone.
Mana
Evocation.
Cyclone.
Okay.
Okay, he's gonna get a couple more cards here. Another Astromancer Solarian.
Yeah, that's gonna do it.
Valiant
effort.
It's a 4/4 3 times. He's still dead. Actually, no. If it cleared off 4 power, there was only 12. No, there was exactly 19. Bummer. And for style points, he's gonna play the Savageur that he ripped off the top. Show dominance.
Briarthorn takes game number 5. Starts off his Division B campaign with a 1-0 record and a small smirk for the fans.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So with that, TJ, the path's already been set with the talk about playoffs and how there's a magic number for certain players. There's also a certain magic number that avoids relegation. So Briarthorn with each win is increasing the likelihood that he sticks with us for another season, which is one of the big things that's on people's minds, because after Papa Jason last season, you don't want to necessarily have to repeat that kind of thing where you get relegated the first season that you're in. But for now, look at that. Eddie, Monsanto, No Hands, Ginger, and Muzzy leading Division A. And Briarthorn, the sole possessor of first place in Division B.
Yeah, that's the reward for winning the only Division B match of the day. You get to hold first place for at least one day. That is until we see more Division B matches tomorrow, but it's a good start, especially after, anything but a stellar performance throughout the Swiss, as we mentioned earlier from Briarthorn. He was really needed to turn that overall win rate around, and starts off with a win, because right now it doesn't matter about your average performance over the course of a large sample size. They play as many round robin matches as they played in a single week of just the Swiss portion in the past 3 weeks. So all you need to do is focus on your individual matches each week and win as many of those as you can. And it's not about like this bigger sample size, because that's over. It's just about the opponent that's in front of you that day. So that's what Briarthorn needs to focus on. Same for Zalae, actually, because he had a very middling performance in Swiss. Some good weeks, some bad weeks, about a 50% win rate overall, which is respectable. Midway through the field, that seems to be, his MO over the past 3 seasons. But when you find yourself at Division B again and having to fight back, it gets a little bit more stressful.
Very much true, and that's going to continue to develop even just throughout this weekend, as we might see some players start off 0-2 or 2-0 and put themselves in good or bad spots moving forward. There's not much time. In just a couple of short weeks, we're going to have a really good idea who's not going to be joining us and no longer be a Grandmaster, and the stress elevates pretty significantly. It's going to be real tense and real exciting, and we're going to be guiding you throughout the entire process. So that brings us to the conclusion of today's broadcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you missed any part of it, there's always the VODs. You could rewind right now, maybe even watch some of those crazy plays from the previous series. Or you can just look at all the VODs, as well as the deck lists, if you go to playhearthstone.com/esports. For Frodan, TJ Sanders, and everyone that's part of the Grandmaster program, thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.